Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of A Handful of Hope. My name is Brisendine, and today I have Jennie with us, who's a successful speaker, author, coach, and certified Canfield trainer. She received her BA degree in math and dance education, taught middle and high school for 25 years in California and Utah. She's the author of the Amazon best-selling book, Keeping It Together When Life Throws You Curves. Probably is pretty relevant for right now. She's passionate about helping people achieve their goals and live authentic, fulfilling lives by recognizing their own potential and overcoming obstacles. No matter where you are or where you've been, Jennie can help you believe in yourself and realize that anything is possible. She currently resides in Newport Beach with her husband and daughter. Jennie, welcome, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Jesse. I just really appreciate this opportunity. Like many coaches, I've been thinking, how can I help? How can I serve? How can I help people during this time? So I really appreciate you having me.
And I appreciate so much you raising your hand, because you want to talk about, I think, one of the probably the most important things to talk about this during this time, and that's heart set. And I will say and reference heart set all the time, but now in talking to you offline, it occurs to me that some folks may not have a kind of a definition of what heart set is, or it's kind of a new term that I think's been woven into the culture the last couple of years. Why don't you start there in defining what heart set is for us?
Yeah, certainly. We often hear about mindset, and mindset is being aware of what's going on in your mind, not just letting our thoughts just come and go, but being intentional about what we have in our mind. And I think heart set is exactly the same thing, except when it comes to our heart. It's really about being in tune with your heart. It's about knowing what's going on in your heart, being aware of your heart, and seeing with glasses with that in mind. So feeling your heart, knowing and being in tune with your heart.
I got goosebumps when you said that. I love that, being in tune with your heart. How does someone know where they're in tune with their heart? How do they become aware of that? Because I'm guessing that people may not even know. Maybe they have times where they kind of move into it by accident. But how does I think awareness precedes transformation, right?
Yeah.
And how do people? What are some signs that they're in tune with it, so that they could start directing themselves more that way?
Well, this morning, I love sunsets. I don't know about you,
Oh, yeah.
but sunsets are one of my favorite times, sunsets, sunrises. But when I see a gorgeous sunset, I feel happy. And we kind of have heard the term, it warms my heart. Something,
Yeah.
I see someone being kind, or we have a situation where we have a real connection with someone, and it just really warms our heart. And I think that is being aware. So if you can think back to something that warms your heart, and that's being aware, oh, I feel that. Like I feel that in my heart, and that's how we know it's there. Now, when we're not in tune with our heart, in that place of heart set, really the way we know it is how we're feeling. So I know our mentor, Jack Canfield, talks about this, is feelings are clues to our thoughts, our words, where our mindset is, but it also can be clues to our heart set. So when we feel, if we're out of alignment, meaning that we're not in alignment, in connection, in agreement with where our heart is, or where our passions are, or what we feel like we're meant to do in the world. If we're not in alignment with that, that's one way that we're not connected to our heart. So if you're thinking, how can I tell, where my heart set is? Our feelings are a great clue. Thinking to some time that your heart was warmed, and proceeding with that, like, how can I feel that again?
Yeah.
What can I do? What can I say? Who can I talk to feel that feeling?
That's powerful. Jennie, you got to remind me afterwards to tell you about the Sunrise Sunset Day event. I think you'll love it.
Awesome. I love that.
So I think you just said something, and I want to make sure we expand on that. this almost idea of like when I love that something warms our heart. So we're literally saying it in our minds, identifying it, but we don't give it thought. And it's about being in alignment with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, there's a lot of chaos, uncertainty, fear in the world. And there's a lot of things pulling us out of alignment, right? There's the economy's going to hell globally. The coronavirus is going around. I swear that most of the people in the world might be living in this kind of world where the Jaws soundtrack is literally playing in rooms all around
Right.
the world where we're just waiting
Yeah.
for something to happen. With all that is pulling us out of alignment, how can we shake that emotion? How can we shake those distractions and pull ourselves back to center and get connected with that? Is it as simple as thinking, or is there something more we can do when so much other stuff is trying to pull us off alignment?
Yeah, that's a great question. I know that our thoughts are really important. I also believe so strongly that it's how we talk to ourselves, treat ourselves, show compassion to ourselves. You know, during this time of chaos, as you've been talking about, it's so easy for us to second guess ourselves, beat ourselves up. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you invest in Zoom? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like
I know.
a year ago, you know.
So,
Um,
I totally missed that one.
you know, there's just, it's easy for us, right? Our natural tendency is to kind of go into that maybe darker place where we're beating ourselves up and we're not showing love to ourselves. And that is an absolute break to heart set, right? That is step number one to heart set. So I want, if you're watching this, I want you to make a commitment to yourself, to forgive yourself,
Mm.
to be patient with yourself, to have compassion with yourself. There was a great online class by Brene Brown and Kristen Neff, and she wrote Self-Compassion. And what she did is she literally took her hands and put them over her heart. Can you see me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So she literally took her hands and put them over her heart and just took a deep breath. And just any time that we're connecting with our heart physically, it helps us to get in that space of self-compassion. So I definitely want us to focus on that. If you have a habit of beating yourself up, we all do, it's totally normal. Don't beat yourself up for beating yourself up because we do that. But instead, just when you hear yourself saying something negative about yourself or thinking a negative thought about yourself, just bring that back in and just tell yourself, you know, I don't need that right now. Like, I'm doing the best I can with what I have. I'm doing the best I can in the midst of all of this insanity. And it's okay. I'm doing okay.
Mm.
And be willing to have that compassion, have that love for yourself. And for some people, it's an easy transition. It's an easy road to get to. And for other people, it's not, just because of the experiences we've had, the limiting beliefs that we keep in our mind. But I think that is super, super important, is to have that patience with ourselves. You know, we have sometimes these big expectations for ourselves. And when we come into a situation like this, we just have to realize it's okay to lower those expectations. You know, it's okay to manage what you have and to lower those expectations for yourself. Be patient with yourself while we're all going through this.
That was so powerful what you said about forgiveness and compassion for yourself. As you were talking, I just had these flashes and replays in my mind, and I can definitely be extremely hard on myself. I cannot tell you how many times I've woken myself up at night, gotten up. I get up early anyways, but even earlier this last few weeks, because I keep thinking I should be doing more, I should be doing more, I should be doing more.
Yeah.
And, or, you know, if it's my own selfish thing and I'm out of service and into selfish, it's being upset at myself that you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you should have thought of this, you should have thought of that. And so all those emotions in the moment, like whenever I feel myself wanting to project it externally onto other people or situations, it's really me being mad at me being unwilling to, me not having forgiven myself or shown myself some compassion and grace in the midst of life, and that I should have somehow, had this foresight or magic crystal ball that everybody else doesn't have. And gosh, that's so powerful. Like, to just give yourself, if you're going through a tough time right now, if you're struggling, if you're in fear, you're stressed, you're angry, you're frustrated, you're pissed off, hands on your heart and just take a breath and forgive yourself and treat yourself with a little compassion and grace.
Yeah, that will definitely connect us to our heart. Because as long as we're in a place of beating ourselves up and being super hard on ourselves, we can't connect to our heart.
Yeah.
It's almost just like there's this brick wall. So, you hear so often, it's even in like the scriptures, whatever, universe or source you have faith in, it talks about a hard heart and a soft heart, an open heart, a willing heart. And I think that's a piece of the heart set too, is being open. When we're going through this, if we maybe are too rigid, like this is the way this has to happen, that we're thinking that we have to control something that we can't control.
Yeah.
That blocks our connection with our heart. So if we can be more in flow, if we can be open, if we can be willing to trust our heart. I mean, sometimes that's risky. If you've been hurt in the past, you maybe aren't willing to trust your heart or open your heart. But it's these times that we need to do that. Not just be willing to, see opportunities that we haven't seen before, but also be willing to see other people, be open, be willing to maybe risk a little bit. That's the way that we're going to connect with our heart, is to have that openness, that willingness to risk, to be a little bit vulnerable.
It's really, that's the risk, is the risk of vulnerability in this time, right?
Yeah.
It's the risk
Yeah.
and God, what a powerful risk to take in this time where we're not only, people are afraid of the coronavirus, they're afraid of the economy, they're afraid of the social isolation, they're afraid of having lost their job or trying to find another job. And so often ego jumps up, right, and says, it's you versus everybody else. What are people going to think of you if you say anything? But really the risk is to open up and reach out and just say, hey, I need a little help.
Yeah.
Can you listen?
The other, can you listen? I want to listen. Can you listen to me? Sometimes people have really just needed to talk.
Yeah.
The other thought that's coming to my mind while you're talking is being willing to follow your heart. So a lot of people in this time are going to need to pivot, right? To shift. So not only being open, but willing to listen to your heart. And definitely the more we can connect with our heart, the more we can hear it and the more we learn to trust it.
Yes.
If we're not used to listening and trusting our heart, then we're a little more skeptical. If we get that message, we're like, follow that, what? But the more that we know our heart and can connect with it, then we're more willing to follow the messages that we get, the intuitive hits that we get, maybe to check this out or learn this new skill or call someone, or just even simple things, but being willing to follow your heart is definitely something that I think we could all develop even more.
And what an opportunity right now is, where, we live in a time where, what is the statistic? It's something like in the US, and there's people from around the world watching us. I don't know what the math is, and you're part of the neighborhood, but 60 to 80% of the people in the US are reported to either strongly dislike or hate their job. And I would, if I were to make an assumption, my assumption would be that they're able to hate it because in their heart, they know that there's something they're more compelled and they would love to do, but they're not sure of how to even go about doing that or where to look for that.
Yeah.
And the opportunity, if we were to choose to embrace it as such, is now some of us may have been forced out of that. And like you said, pivot, and maybe, just maybe, before while you take that breath and calm out of the freak out place, which is understandable, and connect and just see what's on your heart. And as crazy as it might seem, if you look deep, that's probably the whisper that's been whispering for the last 6 months, 6 years, or maybe your whole life. And now, in this crazy time, what better time than to take a crazy leap and just see what happens if you allow your heart to guide you.
There might be an opportunity you don't even know about.
Yeah, absolutely. Jennie, we were talking offline about heart breathing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to share that.
Yes, please
to share
do.
that with your audience. So this is actually a process that was shared by Jack Canfield, but it's from the Heart Math Institute. So it's heartmath.org.
Okay.
If you want to have that reference. But what it is it's the process of actually, like, when we breathe through our nose and mouth, right, into our lungs. But it's shifting that process to actually breathe in and out through your heart. So I would love to have everyone join me here. And if you feel comfortable, to close your eyes and just take a deep breath. You can put your hands on your knees or clasp them together, whatever you're comfortable with. And I want you to imagine your heart. Like, see it in your body, get a visual of your heart. And then I want you to take a deep breath, imagining that you are breathing in through your heart. And then exhale also through your heart. So let's do that a couple more times, imagining that you're bypassing the normal breathing channel and breathing in and out through your heart. Awesome. Jesse, did you feel that?
Yeah, I started crying. And that was really...
I totally felt that.
Yeah, that was powerful.
Talk about connecting.
I mean, I feel like my whole body has goosebumps. I was tearing up. I felt like I could... I felt like I could see my heart, but more than anything, I felt like I could see, I felt like I could see all these other hearts, and it was like trying to push love out to people.
Wow. Yeah. Because the heart can mean so many things, right?
Yeah.
It can signify connection, love, value. You know, I mean, it really has so many meanings. Life, right?
Yeah.
So cool.
How
So
often
cool.
should people do that?
I would say whenever you need to. But when you're just starting the process, you know, I would say at this point right now, we're all home. So set an alarm on your phone,
Yeah.
right? Every hour on the hour.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Right? The more often you can do it, the more connected we are to our heart. And I love what you were saying before about, you know, when we're listening to that, like, new opportunities are going to come. New opportunities. And the other thing about being connected to our heart and in that place of heart set is hope.
Yes.
You know, when we're connected to our heart, our body, our intuition, when we're connected to that, we don't get pulled about so much by what's going on outside of us. You know, we're grounded, we're better centered, more fully centered into really, you know, what's important,
Yeah.
and not bantered about by everything that's going on outside of us. I mean, of course, we're aware and we want to do everything we can to help. But the more we can be aware of our heart and where our heart set is, that the stronger we're going to be for ourselves, for our families, for other people, and the more grounded and centered we can be in our life.
As you were talking, I had this thought of the previous weekend where I was laying on the floor playing with the little kittens. And I had this thought go through my mind so clear, thinking, there is nothing else I want in this moment right now. Like, it's such a perfect moment. Seeing them so happy and excited just for that interaction and so attentive to play. And I was in such like this blissful state of joy being present with them that it was absolutely beautiful. And then the thought occurred to me, for people being at home right now, you know, maybe being more around family or friends or in situations that you might not normally have. God, how powerful would it be that if you spent those 2 minutes, because that only took about 2 minutes, right, that you took us through,
Yeah.
did some heart breathing, and then just spend a few minutes afterwards really connecting with your people. And if you don't have anybody in your four walls, you know, call someone up like this and just notice perhaps your experience in life and if it's changed. Because often so much fear, right, is what is it, false events appearing real.
Yeah.
We're imagining,
Imagining.
yeah, these worst case scenarios that are based off of us having such a high level of comfort, especially in more first world and developed countries, because we live with such, you know, we live with so much comfort. We have these devices that we carry around everywhere that cost so much money. Have Wi-Fi, we can connect to anything. We got clothes, cars, food, and much of the world doesn't even have indoor plumbing, let alone a solid roof over its head that's going to be able to prevent rain from getting in. So
Yeah.
our fears are worst case scenario based off the comfort we have. And all that never probably brings us the bliss that we get in those moments of being present with who and what we love.
Mm-hmm.
And God, what a gift that people could give themselves is if they ran through that process that you just did,
Mm-hmm.
and then just went and were present with their people right afterwards.
For sure. I had the same situation Saturday night. I'm going to be a grandma for the first time in 10 weeks.
Awesome.
And Saturday night, my daughter and son-in-law were here, and I was making a salad, and they were playing a game. They were just starting to play a game. And she said, "Do you want to play?" And I said, "Oh, I'm making a salad." And I thought, I don't want to make a salad. I want to play the game. And so I didn't make the salad. I came and played the game. And there's something to be said for doing what we want to do,
Yeah.
not necessarily things that we have to do. You know, we're really used to doing things that we have to do, you know, the minutia of life. And a lot of that has been taken away. We don't have to do a lot of things now. So I just encourage you, me, everyone out there to do more of the things you want to do. Play with the kittens, right? Do things that bring you joy. And in that, you'll be more connected, more in that place of heart set.
Jennie, this has been absolutely incredible. I have 3 rapid fire questions to close out with.
Yes. Well, before you do,
Yeah.
I want to just appreciate you, because you are the medium that's bringing all of us together. And I just want to honor and appreciate you for being in such a place of service that you're going to bed and waking up thinking, how can I help people? And I just honor you and I want to appreciate you for that.
Thank you. You made me cry twice now in one time.
Okay, bring them on.
Okay. So people are at home, 4 walls, more than they may normally be. If you could recommend one podcast people listen to during this time, what would that be?
I love Lewis Howes.
Okay.
I listen to him Often, I really enjoy his podcast. I think they're
School of
powerful.
Greatness, right?
School of Greatness.
Okay.
Yep.
Book you'd recommend people read?
I love The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. For me, that is a centering book, and I read it periodically. It is one of my favorites.
It's a good one. And it's so short, too.
It's short.
It's a great one.
It's a quicker read.
If you did the first foray into this, it's a great way to start because it's super short. Time investment is minimal.
Yeah, exactly.
And movie or documentary you'd recommend people watching?
I'm all about romantic comedies. So anything with Sandra Bullock, something like Hope Floats, While You Were Sleeping, top of my list. So, if you want to just sit, laugh, cry, not think about what's going on for a minute, Sandra Bullock romantic comedy.
That's awesome. Everyone, this was a really powerful and moving one, and I encourage you rewatch this and use if you need Jennie to walk you through it, just rewind back to this part in it and then just play it 2 minutes, just really get connected. And boy, it sure is powerful. And what we all need right now is to get a little bit more out of here and a little bit more into here, because I really think how we show up during this time is going to lay the foundation for how we emerge and move forward from this time. And if we spend this time in fear and we learn to fear more, it's not saying don't feel fear. All of us have probably felt it at some point. What it is to say that, okay, feel that fear and then get connected with where your center is and consider that center kind of the foundation piece going forward. And Jennie gave you some awesome tools, some amazing ways to do it. And I think there's so much practical correlation in this between just the demonstration and the process she gave to what you can make applicable right now and beyond too. So something that's really important with this isn't just to navigate through this time. These are tools that you can use to navigate through life too. And Jennie, this was absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for sharing so generously with all of us.
Well, Jesse, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Social distance hug.
Okay.
All right, everybody. We'll see you soon on another episode of Healing from Hope. Take care. Bye-bye.